I started when I was 4 years of age. My dad was heavily involved in hockey, so I basically followed him down to my local club down at Waverley, and pretty much from there it's been part of my life since. Well, coming on 25 years I think this year, so yeah, it's been a good ride. I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and it's been a great experience being part of the hockey family. I suppose through my junior career I was playing in the state under-13s, under-15s sort of teams, so all the underage stuff. But in terms of the elite, top elite level, I think probably when I was around 19, 20 years of age, was involved in some junior development squads and those sorts of things through the Hockey Australia program. And yeah, so from pretty much getting myself selected in those sort of squads, I sort of realised that I've got a chance here of taking my career further and sort of hopefully achieving my goals that I'd always had when I was a little kid of playing at Olympic Games for Australia. A lot through the sport itself in terms of travel and meeting new people and friends and those sorts of things, not only within Australia but overseas. But also it's given me an opportunity for employment through hockey and through my speaking engagements and those sorts of things, being associated with the Kookaburras. I managed to obtain employment by doing a presentation at the firm that I'm currently working with. So it's given me a wide range of experiences and those sorts of things. So yeah, I've got a lot out of it. In terms of employment, I sort of discussed that I managed to get a job through that, which was great, and they allowed me to continue on with my sporting career as I pretty much wrapped up playing at the Beijing Olympics and those sorts of things. So they allowed me to come and go as I needed in terms of my training for that period in the lead up to the games and during the games. In terms of family and friends, I think the older you get, the more you realise how much of a sacrifice that your family makes for you, and the support that they give you is super beneficial to allowing me to achieve my goals. Whether it's mum and dad driving you around to different sporting events, or even just a text message from your brothers and sisters saying, well done on your performance, or those sorts of things. Just having their support there is invaluable, and knowing that I suppose you're representing them proudly is, not only do you get the achievements in the sport itself, but also making your family proud, something that's really special. I suppose growing up in terms of your friends and those sorts of things, you sort of get to a point where you've got to choose whether you go down the social path and go to parties and those sorts of things with your mates, or whether you really stick to your dream of going to Olympic Games and being part, hopefully of something special there in terms of whether you win a medal or just performing at your best. It does get tough at times, especially when I used to go to school on a Monday morning and see all the guys, and they used to tell me about their weekends of how they used to have parties and all the shenanigans they used to get up to. But I was pretty heavily involved in my sports on the weekend, and that was my time that I had to train and perform. So you do miss out on different things, but at the end of the day I wouldn't have changed it anyway. For the sacrifices you make, you got to ask yourself, are they really sacrifices, or is it you doing what you got to do to achieve your dreams, which is what it's all about. I think you become a better time managed person, and that's the big key. You get so many things going on in your life, and to add, just an everyday person's busy enough with their work, job, study, etc. But for to add on almost another full-time job of your training and those sorts of things, it just becomes a bit of a juggling act. And I think the way that I got around that at different times was putting things as a priority level. Whether it was coming close to a competition, and obviously your main priority was on your sport and your preparation, so that when you went away to that tournament or to that competition, you were at your peak and you were going to perform at your best. Whereas there was other times where you might have university exams coming up or Year 12 exams, those sorts of things, and that became your focus then, and it was just about prioritising what was really important and those sort of things. I mean, along the way you'd still do your training and those sorts of things, but where you could, you'd put your priority first, and you'd put the extra little bit of effort that, the 1 or 2% that you had extra into that thing that was a priority at the time. Yeah, planning was very important in the fact that you learn to juggle your life really well and to take new things on. And I think probably one of the biggest eye-openers I received was I actually came to the ACE supervisor here at the VIS, and we mapped out on a piece of paper what my weekly schedule was, and it was a bit of an eye-opener for me. What I thought was a full busy week turned out to be 12 hours at uni, and then maybe another 12 to 15 hours of training. So I'd have a whole week of, I know what it is, over 140 hours. I was really doing 25 hours of sport and study. So here I was complaining that, I'm flat out when I was actually really only doing, or really busy for one day of the week. So once I sort of got all that mapped out and planned, I became a lot more efficient with my time, and that allowed me to prepare better for my sport and studies and those sorts of things.